Hi everyone. My name is Kristen Switzer, and myself, Summer Willock, and Megan Conley are all part of the Intermountain Leadership Program, which is a graduate student organization at MSU meant to improve on and develop inclusive leadership skills. We are presenting today on a project we would like to see implemented on campus, which is a liaison position focused on intersectional environmentalism. I'm going to cover a brief history of intersectionality. The Combahee River Collective was an early part of the intersectionalist movement in the 1970s. They were a Black feminist organization that argued that the feminist movement and civil rights movement were not addressing Black feminist politics or integrated systems of oppression. In 1989, Kimberly Crenshaw coined the term intersectionality when talking about how race and gender bias combine to create even more harm for people. As she stated, if you're standing in the path of multiple forms of exclusion, you're likely to get hit by both. Then in 1990, Patricia Hill Collins wrote her book, Black Feminist Thought, where she explored the words and ideas of Black feminist thinkers like Angela Davis, Alice Walker, and Audre Lorde. Patricia combines theory with feminist practice and incorporates ideas from in and outside of academia. These are just a few important moments that provided foundation for the intersectionalist movement today. In more recent years, intersectional environmentalism has emerged. Leah Thomas describes this idea as a more inclusive form of environmentalism that identifies the ways in which injustices happening to marginalized communities and the earth are connected. And this is what we hope to build our project around. Leah also created a group called the Intersectional Environmentalist, which collaborates with businesses to educate and train them on intersectional environmentalism and holds them to certain standards for incorporating these ideas into their business. There have been many big moments in the United States of people fighting for environmental justice. In the mid-1900s, there were many overlapping movements for change, such as the Civil Rights Movement, Farm Workers' Rights Movement, and movements for equality, public housing, and public recreational spaces, which all help to catalyze and further the goals of environmental movements for change. The environmental movement started to take off in the 1980s, and environmental justice cases started developing, like the BIPOC-led sit-in at the Warren County PCB landfill in North Carolina. It was used to dump PCB-contaminated soil and was located in an area of predominantly Black residents. Additionally, the landfill leaked contaminated water into the groundwater. Warren County citizens protested by laying in front of thousands of truckloads of contaminated PCB soil on their way to the landfill. The controversy around this event led to the coining of the phrase environmental racism and helped spark the environmental justice movement. In 2014, a public health crisis in Flint, Michigan began after public officials decided to change their water supply to save money and ended up contaminating the water with lead and bacteria that had widespread health impacts on the community. Dr. Paul Mohai, an environmental justice professor at the University of Michigan, explained how certain communities are disproportionately burdened by environmental contamination and health risks. Like Flint, those places tend to be locations where poor people and people of color are concentrated, and residents are not given a meaningful say in decisions that affect their communities. Flint is an example of residents being ignored when they told public health officials of pollution concerns. One more example of the many fights for environmental justice is the protest at Standing Rock against the Dakota Access Pipeline. The Standing Rock Sioux tribe protested the pipeline because it violates a treaty which guarantees undisturbed use and occupation of reservation lands that the pipeline would run through. Other Native nations and allies joined the protest, fighting against a pipeline that would destroy valuable cultural resources and water supply. The Dakota Access Pipeline shows a blatant disregard for the lives and land of Indigenous peoples. We want to implement ideas of intersectional environmentalism on campus and hope to contribute to the environmental justice movement with our project, which is why we came up with an undergraduate liaison position at MSU that would focus on such ideas. We hope to amplify BIPOC voices in the environmental movement with this position and include diverse perspectives in efforts on campus that strive to create positive change for the environment. It's important in this movement to advocate for the people and the planet. The position may vary on exactly what it looks like based on the individual who currently holds it. We want there to be some flexibility in what the student wants to gain from the position and how they want to implement change. It would be a semester-long position that can be reapplied for, and the student would receive a stipend for their work. We hope to integrate the position into the Office of Sustainability, who could also advertise for it, and that office has expressed interest in working with us. We also hope the student would be able to work closely with the Campus Climate Coalition and BIPOC groups on campus in implementing projects and amplifying BIPOC voices. We've developed some framework that could act as guidance for what the student may want to pursue in their position. A presentation at least once per semester to the Campus Climate Coalition regarding intersectional environmentalism topics would be beneficial in maintaining this dialogue on campus. The student could also pursue some sort of project of their choice related to intersectional environmentalism that would positively impact the campus or community. These projects could be a multi-group collaboration with the student liaison acting to connect the groups. The projects could involve working with the university to implement curriculum and diversity requirements for students, working with local or state policy action groups, or creating a program to engage BIPOC students in environmental or outdoor programs. Or the student might want to go more in an education and outreach direction, like spreading awareness of intersectional environmentalism issues, presenting more often at various clubs on campus, or presenting at local schools on environmental justice issues. One last idea could be to fundraise for an environmental organization of that student's choice. So far, we have spoken with a few groups on campus who are interested in helping develop the position within or associated with their organization. Like I mentioned before, the Office of Sustainability is open to collaborations and have identified funding sources we could pursue for the stipend. The Campus Climate Coalition and MSU Office of Diversity and Inclusion were also supportive of the idea and open to assisting with implementing the position on campus. If you would like to learn more about the position, have input on the idea, or are interested in helping us develop it, please contact Kristen, Summer, or Megan at the following email addresses. Thank you for your time.